There is a map. Not one you can fold or tap on a screen, but one drawn in breath, in bone, etched quietly beneath your ribs. No answers here, just an invitation to slow down, listen, and remember. Not escape, but return. I'm Mike Brcic, fellow traveler, recovering achiever, founder of Wayfinders. Pack light, walk slow. We're heading into the unknown. Welcome to A Wayfinder's Guide to Life. So, here we are. You press play. Something brought you here. A restlessness, maybe. A quiet little voice that keeps whispering to you in the early morning hours. Welcome to A Wayfinder's Guide to Life. I'm your host and storyteller, Mike Brcic. I'm recording this introduction deep in the wilderness, about 3 hours north of my hometown of Toronto. Nearby, there's a small creek providing a constant hum of moving water. This morning, a blue heron was the first creature I saw. Birdsong was my alarm clock today. There's something about the wilderness that speaks directly to my soul. This spot is a perfect backdrop to the start of this series. This podcast is something of a trail marker or a field guide, a companion for entrepreneurs and leaders in midlife, navigating this messy, beautiful wilderness between success and soul. It's a guide to another kind of mountain, when we realize that the first mountain, the one we spent the first half of our life climbing, towards success, wealth, and accolades, starts to lose its appeal. This is Season 1, 10 episodes shaped around the hero's journey, that ancient arc Joseph Campbell introduced us to, where we're called to leave the familiar, face what we've spent a lifetime avoiding, and return changed. This isn't the hero's journey of mythic battles or Hollywood endings. This is the midlife version, where the dragons are internal, the maps are homemade, and the real quest is to live a life that feels honest, alive, and your own. It's for those who are no longer satisfied with fine or okay, and who sense that something deeper, something real and poetic, lies waiting beyond the roles they've been playing so dutifully and for so long. The first 2 episodes are out now, and after that, we'll release a new episode every Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. By the way, if what you hear resonates, I'd love it if you hit follow or subscribe. It's the easiest way to keep walking together. I'll pause now so you can do that without missing a beat. Welcome back, and thank you for subscribing. For the past several years, I've had the privilege of walking alongside entrepreneurs and leaders from around the world. People who, from the outside, seem like they've got it all figured out. They have, by most conventional measures, achieved success. I'm making air quotes right now, just so you know. But behind the scenes, a different story starts to emerge. There's fatigue, a subtle crisis, a sense that the story they've built, the identity they've mastered, no longer feels true. I know that place well. I spent 2.5 years there in my early 30s. It almost completely destroyed me. Then, several years ago, I hit what Brené Brown calls the midlife unravelling. Not exactly a breakdown or a crisis, more like a slow, painful realization that I had built a life that was too small for the deeper part of me. I'd spent years chasing markers of success, building businesses, chasing goals, racking up stamps in my passport. And somewhere along the way, I got really good at pretending everything was fine. But the truth is, it wasn't. And I wasn't. The excitement was gone. The energy was draining. My relationships were suffering, especially the one I had with myself. And inside, I could feel something rumbling. something old and wild and honest. The story I'd built had taken me far, but it couldn't take me further. And that's when the real journey began. Let me say this plainly. I am still on that journey. I'm not speaking to you from the top of the mountain. I'm not offering answers or formulas. I'm walking this road, and most days I just try to listen for what's real. This show is a space to share what I've seen, felt, and learned along the way. Sometimes a story, sometimes a reflection, sometimes just a quiet pause in the noise. Many of these stories were born far from home, in the Himalayas of Bhutan, the sands of the Sahara, the heights of the Andes, and in the loud jungles of the Amazon. Through my work with Wayfinders, I've had the privilege of traveling to some of Earth's most remote and awe-inspiring places. I've spent time with indigenous elders and people whose ways of life are radically different from my own. People who've never read a productivity book, who have no word for burnout, and who live in rhythm with something far older and wiser than a calendar. I've sat in silence with the Bedouins around their fires. I've walked thousand-year-old paths with the Kazakh nomads of Mongolia. I've sung with the Gome tribesmen of Papua New Guinea. I've watched hardened entrepreneurs break open beside remote rivers and remember, often for the first time in decades, what it feels like to be alive. Many of these stories will show up here, and some may, I hope, inspire you to one day join us out there in the wild. We'll explore themes like what happens when the old story starts to fall apart, what it means to sit with silence and actually listen, how to bring your soul back into your business and relationships, and why aliveness is a better compass than ambition. We'll explore themes like soulful entrepreneurship and leadership, transitions and identity shifts, how we become whole again, and the process of reintegrating self, matching our outer world with our inner essence. We'll explore how to reclaim creativity and find inner purpose, how we embrace vulnerability to gain authentic connection, and stories of crossing the threshold. We'll talk about grief, wonder, ritual, risk. We'll talk about what it means to come home to yourself, especially in midlife, when everything that used to work stops working. Along the way, you'll hear a phrase often echoed in the Wayfinders community: courage over comfort. The truth is, choosing soul isn't easy. It usually means stepping off the map into the unknown. It often means disappointing people, shedding old roles, and letting go of safety. But in return, you get your life back. Your life. The one that fits like skin and smells like rain. The one you've been aching for, even if you couldn't name it. If that's what you're after, welcome. You're in the right place. Before we wrap, I want to leave you with a question. One that's both haunted and helped me in equal measure. It's this. What are the lies you tell yourself to keep the peace? The ones that keep everything looking fine on the outside, but cost you something profound on the inside. The first step on this path, before the rituals, the revelations, the rewilding, is simply this. Face the truth. No judgment, no rush, just honesty. And if you're ready, or at least curious, I'd be honored to walk with you a while. So wherever this finds you, on your commute, on a forest trail, or lying awake at 3 a.m., thank you for being here. Let's keep walking. Thanks for walking a while with me today. If this conversation stirred something in you, I'd be honored if you take a moment to leave a review in your podcast platform. Reviews are how this podcast finds its way to others who might be standing at the same threshold, wondering if there's more waiting for them too. And they're a great way to make a deposit into your karmic bank account. If and when you're ready to go deeper, here are 3 ways. You can join one of my upcoming adventures with Wayfinders, where I gather entrepreneurs and leaders in midlife in some of the wildest and most beautiful places around the world to reconnect with self, with soul, and with each other. This coming October, I'm heading back to the wilds of Mongolia. In March of 2026, we'll explore the deserts of the Sinai Peninsula with the Bedouins. And in October of 2026, I'm going back to the magical Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan. You can learn more at way-finders.com. If you're a fan of the written word, you can also subscribe to my Substack newsletter for weekly stories, reflections, and invitations into the quiet, meaningful corners of life. Finally, if you'd like to connect live with other soulful entrepreneurs, join our next online Soul Talks, a monthly conversation space for people walking this road with heart. You'll find all of these linked in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk gently, listen deeply, and trust the wild places within.